Okay, so, and by the way, my name is Mitch Bryars, and I usually do these meetings on the iPhone or the iPad, and iOS. And so I had sent out an email. Now, did I answer all your questions? Okay, good. And what is your name, sir?
Ken Fools, F-A-L-L-S.
Ken, and who was the other new member? Or new?
William Everson.
William, good. Good to, welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
If you have a question as we go through, we ask you just raise your hand and just mention your first name when we call on you. Okay, so there were a few questions that I wanted to get into. And the first one was, this one. And I emailed, is Mary Marks here?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I
Yeah.
emailed you and asked you which kind of email does this person have? Gmail, Yahoo?
She
or
doesn't
what?
know.
She doesn't
Somebody
know.
else set up her account, and her daughter didn't know, and this woman never got back to her. So I don't know.
I can't tell from this. Can you, Jerry, what email it is? It looks like a private one.
No.
It's with her company.
It's with her company.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
If it's with her company, they might have restrictions on her being able, is this for her iPad? She's using an iPad or an
iPhone.
iPhone.
iPhone. She can forward mail that she receives on her her desktop,
Yep,
but not her iPhone, and she said she used to be able to.
she used to be able to, okay.
Yes.
Since it's a company email, she needs to call her company IT support people and ask them what the difficulty is. Because if it's not a standard Gmail, or if it's a standard Gmail or Yahoo or Comcast or so on, usually that stuff populates and it's really easy to do it in settings for mail. But since we don't know what kind of mail it is, and since it's a company email issue, she really needs to call the IT department and find out why she can no longer do it on her iPhone. Could be that they're blocking that, because a lot of companies do.
Okay.
Jerry, do you have any other comments on that?
It's her own company, so.
Oh, it's her own company.
Yeah. But somebody else.
That's good. She should.
But she knows nothing
She should
about.
call herself, no.
She knows nothing about it.
Well,
Somebody else set
She
it
ought to
up.
call the IT person
Okay.
that set it up for her.
Probably has to look at there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably has to call the IT person who set it up for her and say, hey, what's going on? Why can't I do this
Because there's some
anymore?
restriction. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
There's something in the, I will show you this though. When you go to, let's do this for everybody's benefit. When you go to settings, I have it right down here. Settings, and you go down to here, mail, contacts, calendars,
Yes.
okay? And so like, let me just pull up this one, Tech 24K, that's one of my emails. And if I go into the account, okay,
Very sad breaking news on the death of U.S. Supreme Court
it'll want my password and everything, but it's got, if I go here, it's got all this,
Went to bed last night.
yeah, that's not
Not
good.
feeling well. He told
Who's
friends
got that on?
went
Turn
to
it
bed,
off,
did not
please.
get up for breakfast, we're told.
And how did you get that? It was under general, under mail.
Could everybody turn off their phones and put them on silence or whatever? Thank you.
Mitch, maybe we ought to do it the other way around. Let everybody turn on their phone.
Yeah. That way they wouldn't have to listen to me.
Okay, so mail, contacts, calendars.
Yeah, mail contacts, and then, here, let me go back. Okay, when you go to mail contacts calendars, this comes up, and your accounts will be right here, so her account will be there. Let me pick another one like, let's pick the Yahoo one, see if it shows. It'll probably ask for my password. It asks for your password, and when you go to this stuff here, it will, now, I thought those settings would be in here, but they're not, I don't see them. But this is where those adjustments need to be made. And they should mirror probably the adjustments, the settings that are on her computer. But she really needs to, if it's not working all of a sudden, she probably needs to contact the IT person or an IT person who is an expert. Is she in town?
Yes?
Dennis Giacomo, the guy that's gonna come on Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Is she- Or on Monday? On Monday, sorry. He would be an excellent source to contact. And if you don't have his information, you can come up to me after the meeting and I'll give it to you. And there are a few other people that you could call, but if her person is in town who set it up, that would be the first choice. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, let me go back in here and go to, okay. Fairly, is he here? She here?
No,
Okay. I don't have a good answer for this. The question here is, Mitch, why do I often get a message that shows a problem has occurred with this website? And so it reloads, and sometimes it takes some time, and it's very frustrating. Is this happening, I assume, on your iPad?
yes,
Yes. Are you up to date on the operating systems?
yeah, yes,
Okay. Have you done a hard reset lately on your iPad?
yes.
Yes. I don't have a good answer. Does anybody else have a good answer as to why you would have this kind of a message come up repeatedly? How often does it come up when you say repeatedly?
It varies. Sometimes it comes up repeatedly. Other times I go a whole day.
Yeah. I noticed one thing on this website, and this is something that I think Apple had put into the program. You see this advertisement for address? When that comes up, they automatically get that off of there so your wife won't buy things. Okay, I don't have a good answer. Does anybody else have a good answer as to why this is happening?
Sometimes it's just a weak signal.
A weak signal, weak internet signal? Where, is this happening at a specific, at home all the time or everywhere?
At home, 5 feet from the modem router.
Uh-huh. And what kind of a modem router do you have? What kind of a
Whatever
router?
Comcast provided,
The one that Comcast provided?
I'm a tenant, so I don't,
Okay, and the modem the same thing?
I presume so.
Yeah. That could be your issue, but do you have a computer that ties into it as well?
Yes,
Does it tie in via Wi-Fi or through a hardwire connection?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Do you have the problem with the computer?
I don't typically read newspapers and things like that on the computer, just on the iPad.
Okay, we had another comment over here.
Well, I had that happen, a good year ago, and I finally called Apple Care, and the third party I spoke to had me, they put me on another Wi-Fi site, but I did do it through, even though I was with Comcast, they were no help, but I did do it through Apple Care.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing you can do, is you can go into your, I think it's the modem, no, the router. You can go into the router and you can choose what channels to use. And there are 11 different channels. The best one, I think, is 5 and 9 or something.
Oh, it depends, but you can see that.
Yeah, you can see that. And you might want to fiddle around with that. And so if you, what I'd say, it gets very detailed to do that, but what I would suggest you do is Google, how do I change the channel on my modem? Put in the type of modem you have if possible, and see if you get some instructions on how to change it, because, and you might also want to, I would strongly suggest you Google which channels on my modem are best for me to use, because there are a couple that are really good. And one of the things that you'll find in an article is that if everybody's using channel 5 that comes up on a list of people around you, then you don't want to use that. You want to use it different.
Mitch?
Yes.
Go to settings in Wi-Fi.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. What happens to me, there are more than one Wi-Fi network in my house. I've got 2 of my own, but I've got neighbors' networks, one of which happens to be public. And sometimes my iPad latches onto a different network than the one that I want it to be on. So, because it kind of grabs a hold of a network, a strong network, and then stays with it. So you may want to go into your settings and make sure it is connected to your network that is part of your, that you have and not some neighbor's network.
Yeah, a lot of people have had, that's a good point, Jerry. A lot of people have had trouble with Xfinity, because Xfinity's all over town now, and they're piggybacking on everybody, Comcast.
Since he's on Comcast.
Since you're on Comcast. And so if all of a sudden you're on the Xfinity that everybody else in town is using, that can be a problem. And as Jerry mentioned, it'll automatically go to that. And one of the ways to stop that is to just go into the settings and I don't want to do this, but you can go here and you see where I pushed that I right here? Right here, this I on the network that I'm on. If I push that, I can hit forget this network. And if I do that, then when I come in this room the next time, it won't automatically go on to that network, okay? Now, if you say, oh, well, okay, I do see where this Xfinity is on here, I want to get rid of it. So if you get rid of it, and then you're out at, I don't know where you are, McDonald's, Wendy's, or whatever, but they're using Xfinity, and you say, yeah, I want to get on the internet, I accept, well, then it's going to be there again. And it'll be there for everywhere.
But he'll have to put in his username and password.
Yeah, you'll have to put in your username and password again for Xfinity.
Comcast.
Which is Comcast, yes. So I hope those hints will help you, but it's, and I'm sorry we can't be more definitive. Yes, sir.
On your.
Your name again?
Ken.
Ken.
On your laptop, you can also do option and hit the Wi-Fi signal, and it allows you to test it. It tells you if you're on a busy channel and
Yes.
runs through a whole bunch of tests. It'll print out a report.
Right. You can also go, there are some free things. This is the one that I use. Find it. Yeah, I use the speed tester. It's a free. Okay, so if I'm having trouble, one of the things I'll do is I won't go there. I'll go to speed tester, and you can download this app. It's free, and you begin the test, and it'll show you what's going on. It's going to take a second. There we go. It's going. So, actually not as strong as I thought it would be here. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
For what we paid for.
Yeah.
Who do you upload it?
I mean, when I do this at home, I usually get, it'll show the results here, and I'll tell you what I usually get at home. Okay. So it's saying, download 7, that's usually about what I get, 7 to 10. But this upload, I usually get like somewhere between 80 and 100. And that upload of 10 is really low. It's something we might want to have them check out here. And I could try it again real quick and see if it gets because you can do it 2 or 3 times. Sometimes it'll just be a hiccup in the results. But it doesn't look like it. It's just slow. That's probably why we've been having trouble playing some YouTube stuff, George. You wait, George?
Right.
Just checking. Yes, Jim.
When I do that, and it seems no matter where I am, my upload speed is routinely less than my download speed.
Yeah, we do.
I
I'm
think
sorry,
that-
your upload speed should be lower. Your download
Yeah,
speed.
the premise
I
is
said
you
it
do more
wrong.
downloading.
I said it wrong. My download speed is the one that's really high.
Right.
This one is,
Okay.
thanks for correcting
All
that.
right.
Yeah, this one's usually somewhere between 5 and 10 or 12. This one's usually, for me, it depends on the level of service you get, but in my home, it's somewhere around 75 or 85. I'll check it every once in a while when I'm streaming, like from Netflix, and all of a sudden I'm getting some interruptions. One of the first things I'll do is check my internet. And while I'm on Apple TV, I know we're going to talk about that next Wednesday, but I did read an article, I mentioned to Jim because he's an Apple TV guru, more so than I'm a pretty big user though. And when they came out with the new Apple TV, there were some real deficiencies and things missing that were in the old Apple TV. And one of them was support for a Bluetooth keyboard. And I just read an article that that is now going to be released very shortly. So you will be able to use a Bluetooth keyboard again with the new Apple TV. You could always use it with the old. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, now, let's go back in here and see. Were those the only questions, George, that you recall? You say?
Somebody sent one this morning.
Was that person here that sent one this morning?
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to know how you delete from the iCloud.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
My name's Larry.
Larry. So let's take a look at the iCloud. This is settings, and it's more of an all or none type of thing usually with the iCloud. So if you go to iCloud and you say, well, input passcode. And I'll have to do this. And I don't want to do that. Can't do that. But, so I'm not going to get in there. I don't want to give everybody to get my passcode. But,
Share?
no, I'm not going to share that.
Mitch,
Yeah.
you could disconnect the camera momentarily. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Now, let me go back in here. Go.
At least you know who did it. And then you have to take names of everybody who did it.
Well, close your eyes.
I'd have to send a veto. Okay, so. Back on here, George's computer. Okay, good. So I'm signed in now. I'm signed in now to my iCloud account. And I don't know why it would ask me to sign in, but let me go back. I don't want to edit anything right here. What I wanted to do was go here. So, for example, if you said, well, what did you want to delete from iCloud?
Well, like old apps that I don't use or books that I don't want anymore.
If you want to delete old apps and not have them back up to iCloud, you literally need to delete them from every device that has the app. If you do that, then they won't be backed up to iCloud, but they will still be in the App Store forever, so if you want to re-download it, you can. So in other words, let's take an example. If I said, I don't want this app, this 365 days. I don't want that anymore. Well, I happen to have that on my iPhone as well. I don't have it on any of my computers, because it's an iOS app. So I'd have to delete that, and I also have it on my wife's phone, and we use the same Apple ID. So I'd have to go in and you hold down the app, and then the X appears. I'm not going to do it, but you hit the X, and it deletes it. But it only deletes it from this device. Then I have to do the same thing on the phone, and I have to do the same thing on my wife's phone, and I have to do the same thing on her iPad, because her and I use the same ID to purchase things. And then, the next time we back up to the iCloud, it would not back up that app. But if I wanted the app and it had cost me $10, if I go to the App Store and download it again, it won't cost $10. It'll be there and it'll just be a cloud. You just hit the button and it'll bring it back down to whatever device you're on.
So then it's not using any space on the cloud.
It's not using that much space. If you're worried about space, and I've got 250 apps, and I think I had 300, and I did decide to cut back a little bit. Usually once a year or so, I'll go through and delete all these wonderful apps that I got for free based on some promotion. I used them one time and got rid of them. Yes, Jerry.
It's not the apps that are using up most of your space, it's your movies and your music and your images.
It's music, yes, exactly right. Movies particular are big. So if you go into settings, there's the settings again. If you go into settings and you go into about this general is right here. Go into general, you go into about. Okay? Now this will show my iPad, and it's showing. Actually, I was wrong. I've been busy downloading stuff. I got 289 apps on my iPad, and I can tell you for a fact that there's only about 15 that I use on a regular basis, and probably 25 or 30 that I use at least once every 1 or 2 months. But they're there if I want them. And there's no reason for me to take them out. Now, this stuff is loading. It might take a while to load because of our slow, we just found out our internet's a little slow. But the songs, I have about 15, I have about maybe 400 or 500 songs on here. I've got 8 or 9 videos, but the videos are the big videos that you get from Apple, and they're like 3 or 4 gigabytes a piece. They're huge. If you take a lot of people where they really make a mistake with their storage is on their iPhone particularly. They're taking videos of their grandkids, and they leave them on their phone rather than update them to their computer. Or they update them to the computer and they still leave them on their phone. Those videos take up a lot of space. And so videos is the big culprit. Photos, I've got, I think, about 17,000 photos on my iPad. I mean, that doesn't take up as much room as I don't think as much room as the movies, the videos. But here's where you would go, and I apologize that this is not coming up, because if it came up, you'd see how much space each of those categories was using. And then you could go in and delete those. The videos is the biggie. And I don't know why it's not showing.
Question.
Yes.
Mitch, my name is Frank.
Yes, Frank.
Now, I've got movies on my iPad as well, but they came up right away. Is that because I loaded them in using?
It's because when you bought them, if you buy a movie, if you're talking about movies from Apple.
No, I actually was using Handbrake to convert some DVDs.
Okay, yeah, Handbrake. Okay, if you downloaded the movie onto your device, then it's there.
It's there.
It's there, and you need to delete it, because probably if you've got it on Handbrake, I converted 700 movies with Handbrake. I haven't done any in the last year or two, but a couple years ago, I took it upon myself to convert every DVD that I had, plus some ones that some friends that know me. And I have, so now I just buy movies on the Apple Store. I get discounts on the iTunes stuff, and I just pay the $12 or so for new movies. But if you delete those from your device, it'll save space, and chances are you've got them on some drive or so on. I got an external iTunes library. It's 1.5 terabytes. It's huge. And I can tell you that about 1.2 terabytes are movies. Does that answer your question?
Just a follow-up, my son mentioned to me that he can no longer use handbrake with El Capitan. Has anybody run into that issue?
I have not run into that issue, but I haven't been using it regularly at all. Anybody else? No?
No, it seems to me I've used it recently and.
No problem. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Diane Bryant. While we're talking about apps, I was wondering how you go about screening apps before you buy them. I became aware, someone made a reference to some apps now have cameras that take you right back to Tiananmen Square in Beijing. And he kind of indicated to be wary when you buy apps.
Yeah. Okay.
So how
Dennis,
do you research?
yeah. Dennis can address this a little bit better than I can, but basically, if you are getting apps through the Apple App Store, generally they've done a really good job of screening that stuff out to begin with. Now, I don't think that anybody is 100% fallible. I just read an article about, who's the famous actor, what's his name?
There's a lot of.
Yeah.
This is the guy who went to prison and everything.
Jim?
Jim. Yeah, Jim. No, I got his article.
What's the context, Mitch?
I got his article right here, security tips.
Sean Penn?
No. Kevin Mitnick. This article just came out, and he made a good point in this article, and his point is that the weakest link in any security system is the human. It's the person who pushes the wrong button because they got a phishing email. Or it's the person who is sitting there going like this with their iPad or their phone in a room like this, putting in their security code, and somebody behind them catches that. And that person behind them happens to be a hacker. It is in fact the weakest link in any security system. And so to the extent that those apps are very well scrutinized by Apple, occasionally there's a human error. But I don't think it's, I would be more concerned with buying an app or a program, which a lot of people, a non-Apple app on your computer that has a camera on it, and I think that's where you could get into more trouble if you didn't know who you were dealing with. And they just had a malware attack over the weekend. It affected ransomware. Yeah, that was a malicious attack that about, I think, 6,000 people downloaded from this trusted site. It wasn't an Apple app, but it was from a site that Apple had deemed to be a trusted site. And when Apple found out about it, they immediately shut it down. So things like that can happen. You have to be careful. Jerry, you want to weigh in on that at all about the Chinese? And I've heard this stuff about, I've heard the thing about if you have a Samsung TV, make sure you go in and turn off the TV camera stuff, because somebody can hack into that and see what you're doing in your living room. And I went into my TV and I found out that I didn't have it on to begin with because I don't use their remote. Jerry?
Well, a couple of things. This particular ransomware that we've been talking about since over the weekend, what happened was some group of bad guys in person cracked, I should say, were able to get into the good developer stuff and modified his code so that it then would encrypt the files of anybody who had downloaded the software. And they were only asking for about $400 to unlock your software. It was discovered, and Apple revoked the certificate on that particular piece of software, and the software developer came out with new software. But relative to the phone on your iMac or on your MacBook Pro, the camera, one of the things you might, if you have Adobe Flash player in your computer, get into its preferences, and there is a place in the preferences where you will see all the applications that can turn on your camera. And you have the ability to turn off those applications. I mean, think about why the application wants to have a camera. Why should the Weather Channel, when running Flash, look at you? So go into Flash player preferences and close out all the things that you don't want people to be looking at you. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that. So this Mitnick guy, he was a famous guy in the 80s. They wrote a book about him. I've read the book. It's pretty interesting. And he got involved in being a bad hacker about the time that Steve Jobs and Wozniak were in the garage making the Apple computer. And he took sort of the dark path. And he got into all kinds of stuff. And he was ultimately arrested. I think he served several years in prison. He got out. Now they call him the good guy because he's running a security firm to prevent this kind of stuff. And he has quite I think he has a pretty good clientele with corporate America on how to prevent this stuff. But this was an article that recently came out on him, and I just want to point out a couple of things. He says right here, and this is what I was saying, the best defense against phishing isn't antivirus or firewall software per se, but training, education, and awareness. And I think we've gone over this a lot in this room, but usually when you get a phishing email, they're always asking you for some bit of private information that a normal corporation, individual, or any government agency would not ask you in an email or even over the phone unless you called them. And it usually always has some urgency to it, and I'm sure we've all seen these, you get an email and it looks like it's from the Bank of America. They got the Bank of America logo there. They got the Bank of America phone calls there. They got everything there. And they'll say, we've noticed a security problem with your account. Please call us immediately or your account will be shut down in 24 hours. And you think, oh my God. And a lot of people don't know. They call the number that's there. And then they're saying, okay, could you verify your account number? Could you verify the last 4 digits of your social security number? What's your dog's name? And everything else. And you're telling them all this stuff. And they say, okay, no problem, we'll take care of it. And it was a hacker. Now they've got all your information. That's what a phishing email is. You see them like the IRS. The IRS is demanding that you call them at once regarding your return or something like that. They would never do that. They would never do that. If you get a phishing email and you think, oh, I better get a hold of these people, the thing to do is to pull out your credit card or to go on the site and type in irs.gov or whatever it is, get the phone number there, get the phone number from the bank there and call and say, I got this email, what's it all about? And do not respond to those emails. Don't click on anything other than delete. Correct, Jerry? You want to add anything?
No, that's good.
Okay. Don?
One, you can look up report phishing. If I get those things, I always do a search for report phishing, Bank of America, IRS, whatever.
Yeah.
And forward them an email.
Well, I'll show you how often, that's a good point. I'll show you how often it happens. I work for Bank of America Merrill Lynch. I'm semi-retired, but I'm still very much involved there. But if I go in here and go to Bank of America, yeah, let me see if I have my groups here. No, I don't. Okay, so if I go in here and go to Bank of America, you'll see that,
What's the term?
that's not much. It's so popular that I've got a contact, Bank of America fraud. And so whenever I get a phishing mail, I just go right there, I hit on the email, and I just send them a note, and I say, this looks fraudulent to me. Send it on. So just always be very cautious about giving out your information via email or a phone call. They call you, hey, something's going on with your account. Well, fine, let me call the number back on the back of my credit card, and I'll talk to them about it.
Mitch,
Yes.
let me cover two things that I did in our security class on Monday. You get emails that say your account's in trouble. Click here to provide direct debit. And, you know, I must get 5 iCloud alerts a week where somebody is telling me that my iCloud account has been compromised and I need to put my Apple ID and password in. If you get it on your iPad, don't tap the link, but press and hold the link, and it will display the URL of the location that you're going to be going to. And you will 9 times out of 10 see that it's going to someplace in Ukraine or Russia or China, but it's not going to Apple. You can do the same thing on your Mac. You hover your cursor over the link, and it will show you where you are going to go if you were to click on that link. That's the first. Anytime that you get a message that says that you do this, make sure, don't click on it, but make sure you know where it's going, because 9 times out of 10, it is not a legitimate message.
And I think this is,
The other thing I'd mention, and this is the same thing Jerry was saying, is if you check the URL up here, a lot of times it'll give it away too. Like this says macworld.com on this article. If you hold that down, it'll show the actual address. And if it said anything other than www.macworld.com, it would indicate it's fraudulent. So in other words, if you get this funny thing from Bank of America and you hit at the top, it'll probably say something about Bank of America, but it won't be bankofamerica.com. It'll probably be alerts.bankofamerica.com, or it'll be Bank of America alerts. It'll be something screwy. So that's another hint as well.
Somebody had a question back here.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to stick with this lady right here for one more
Okay,
time.
I had one other question about apps.
Yes.
This morning I received notification that I need to update my Gmail app. I have sat in this meeting many years, and I do know about Gmail and the searching that they do.
Right.
I've been lazy and I didn't get rid of it. But as I read through the update that they want me to do, it's because I'm using an older way. And the 3 things that they're going to offer now is to sort my social and promotional emails out of my primary inbox, search through all of my mail quickly, the predictions as you type, and see profile pictures. Is it time to get rid of Gmail, do we think?
Is this on your iPad?
It's on my iPad and my iPhone.
Yeah. Well, I don't use their native app for their email. I mean, I use, they're talking about using, having an icon that's directly,
Right.
okay. I have all of mine, in the mail app that comes with the iPad. and I just registered Gmail. I've actually have 3 Gmail accounts in there. So if we go out to my, if we go out to my mailboxes, here are all the ones I have tied into my iPhone and my iPad. I've got a Yahoo, and I've got this one and this one are Gmail. This one's a GoDaddy. This one is the iCloud email. I also have another Apple email or Gmail account set up that I never use.
Well, that's how mine is, I don't have it.
Then I wouldn't worry about their app unless there's something special that you want to get it directly from them.
Okay, so just ignore it.
Yes.
Don't, okay.
Anybody else have a comment on that particular issue? Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
One thing, this is relative to the phone, but somebody had told me this, and this was great. We keep getting calls from the same people.
Right.
So what they said, and what I do now, it's a lot of fun, it's cute. I say, hello, Collier County Sheriff's Office, may we help you? And all of a sudden, it's gone.
Yeah.
And they haven't called back.
That's a good way to do it. You can also block calls. Does everybody know how to block calls on the phone?
This is more fun.
Yeah, that is more fun.
How do you block?
Let me go here first.
Bridget, I did email you, but I managed to send my email to Vicki instead of you, so maybe you didn't get it. I'm having trouble with my iPhone in 2 different things. One of them, let me see what I said to you. One of them is I can't get Wi-Fi if I'm in a place like in the car.
Yeah.
I can't get Wi-Fi.
Right.
And another, and I used to, I swear I used to do it. And the other thing is my messages. It says that they're unable to send a message. And I've never had that happen before. I went on a cruise, I turned some stuff off so I wouldn't get charged a lot, but I went back into contacts and I said, I turned back contacts on and I scrolled down and I turned back Safari on. And I don't know what else to do.
Well, you might want to, let me just see here. I don't travel that often, but I know that in this, let me just see here.
Before you end the meeting, but just say.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Let me see what it's about. No, cellular data. Okay, in here, you want to make sure that you have enable LTE. Cellular data is enabled. Those are usually things that you turn off when you go
I
overseas.
did turn back on.
Okay.
Could I comment on that?
Yeah.
As part of my class on Monday, we're going to talk about the travel app. And they advertise that even devices that don't have GPS, that are just Wi-Fi, can pick up your location. However, it depends where you are. What they explained, and I don't know technically how this works, but Apple has a way of knowing where all the routers are, if that affect their users. And even though it's a secured router, you can still get location information from that. So if you're in a place where there is a lot of Wi-Fi, like we played an experiment the other day. My husband has a non-cellular iPad. So we drove around Naples and we were able to locate ourselves all over Naples. Now, if you go out toward Immokalee and you're in the middle of nowhere and there's not a lot of Wi-Fi, it's possible you will not be able to get a location. So it's called assisted GPS, and they use a variety of things. And I don't know if they send them to cell towers or they somehow gets on the internet, but it's a system that you're in a city where there's a lot of routers. You can probably locate yourself without GPS. So it's an interesting technology, and it did work. I mean, we tried it. I took my cell phone and I shut off they tell you to shut off roaming. I shut off cellular completely. I was able to get location all over Naples. Now, the one thing you have to be careful is, don't put it on airplane mode, because if you put it on airplane mode, it's not gonna work. And your GPS won't work either. So if you want to use your GPS on your phone, you need to put it, you can turn the cellular off, but don't put it on airplane mode, because that shuts off the GPS.
You might,
Marilyn, what else
if
can I
you're-
do?
well, I think you need to stop in the Apple shop,
Okay.
the Genius Bar.
There might be some setting that you've changed around or something.
There's probably a simple setting that you've changed around that's preventing that from happening, but I would make an appointment at the Genius Bar.
It might be we're in a location where the Wi-Fi wasn't working, I don't know.
But you wouldn't be getting Wi-Fi in your car unless you were tied into an Xfinity Wi-Fi, the one we talked about earlier, and they had it blasting out here, and then it changed, and it was blasting up on 41 from somewhere, and so on. Then you could get Wi-Fi on your phone, but
You can't get internet,
you can't get.
but you
yeah.
can get location, that's the difference. In other words.
No, I'm saying with the Xfinity.
Oh, yeah,
Wi-Fi.
with the hotspots,
Because she was
right.
saying, I swear I used to get Wi-Fi in my car. You don't get Wi-Fi in your car unless
You're near a hotspot.
unless you're near a hotspot.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there were some other questions. Jim?
Jim Korska, this is just a clarification, Mitch. Am I correct that there is no such thing as a non-App Store app for iDevices? In other words, isn't there
That's
an
correct.
automatic layer of security that all
That's
apps
correct.
come
I
to
know
the
of no app that you can buy for your iPad or iPhone that you can't, that you can get outside of the
So the spying camera issue is not really an iDevice issue, it's really a laptop or an iMac issue. Because
Exactly.
you can get the applications from third party.
Exactly, unless Apple has made a mistake in reviewing an app and has missed something. But usually, I mean, if they've missed something, usually there's 1,000 different guys that are at a level 1,000 feet above all of us in this room, that they'll be able to some blog and some guy has found it. And sometimes I wonder, what are these guys thinking they're finding these things?
It's one time. There's another world called those who have jailbroke their iDevice.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
And if you're playing in that world, yes, you can get apps for your jailbroke device, but nobody in their right mind would jailbreak their phone.
I've never once jailbroke my phone at all. I know people who have, and it's just not worth the headaches that it follow it. If you have an Android.
Why does a person do it?
The person does it because they want different apps and they want more flexibility and they want to be able to do things that Apple sort of prevents them from doing for good reasons.
And they're teenagers.
A lot of them, well,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily, but they're usually very tech savvy. Yes.
Originally, when we tried to mirror the iPad or iPhone onto the computer and show it like this,
Yes.
we could not do it. And we did find a way to do it, but we decided not to do it, and that was to jailbreak the phone, because there was programs out there that could do it.
And then, and Marilyn, do you want to say more about your course? I know there's still some openings, right?
Yes.
Or you can tell us a few highlights of what you're going to cover.
Yeah, we're going to cover 3 different apps, and that's next Monday over at Hodges. The first one is called Liquid Text, and I thought of you because a couple of years ago, he emailed me, he says, I've got this big insurance policy on my iPad, and I don't want all this stuff, I just want the highlights of it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And can I do this on my iPad so I can get rid of all the junk, I just need the highlights from this insurance policy, or I think it was a medical policy. And we did figure out a way, but it was a little complicated. Well, now there's an app that no matter what you put on there, you can get it from the internet, or you can get it from Dropbox or other places, a document that you have, and if you want to take excerpts out of it, it's so easy. You just tap it, it automatically makes an excerpt, and you can just save the excerpts, or you can just save where you highlighted the text. It's called Liquid Text. It's very easy to use, and it's a handy thing to have if you like excerpts. I like to use it for manuals, like my camera manual. I don't need the whole manual, I just need a few things from there to keep on my iPad. The second one we're going to do is City Apps to Go Pro, which is the travel app I was telling you about, which is very rich. It has not only directions, but it also has this information I told you about the locations. It also has huge articles about where you're visiting. It has directions. It has restaurants, hotels. It just has, it's very rich. And you can get a free version or you can get the pro version. And I'm going to show you how to work these. They're all very easy. And the last one I was playing with yesterday is called Adobe Slate. And it's an app where you can take pictures and put in text, and you make this beautiful little story. Like if you went on a trip and you wanted to share it with friends, or you want to do something nice for your grandkids. It's so easy, you can learn it in 10 minutes according to Adobe. So we'll see if that's true. Yes?
What was the name of the second app that?
City Apps to Go, but the 2 is the number.
Okay.
And there's the pro version and the free version. And
It's City Map.
Probably should
It's
download.
City Maps 2 Go Pro.
isn't that what I said?
No.
Oh,
It said apps.
oh, I said apps. Oh, sorry. City Maps to Go.
There you go. Pass it to the lady.
It's to buy the pro version, I believe, is $5 or $6, but there's also a free version which has ads and a few other things. So, and I know some of you are having trouble still registering to get into the class. Don't worry about it. Is Eckert here?
Yes.
Oh.
He had to leave.
Oh, he had to leave, okay. If you look on the discussion group, I sent out an email yesterday afternoon. But if you can't register, just show up at 12:15 at Hopkins with your $15 check, and we'll let you in. And if you have the email from me from yesterday, it gives you the website where you can let Eckert know you're coming, which will help him.
And it's at 1 o'clock for sure.
It's at 1 o'clock, but yeah, but if you're going to be a walk-in, for sure come a little early, so you're not. And if you write your check out before you get there, that also helps, so we don't keep people standing in line. Yes.
How long is the class?
The class is scheduled for 3 hours, from 1 to 4. However, I suspect, since it's the last class, I might give you a big treat and let you out early. I mean, these apps are so easy to teach, and they're so easy to use, and they're so much fun. And you're going to have very detailed notes, so when you go home, you can figure out how to use them. Yes.
Bridget, should we download those apps and before we come to class?
You don't have to. I mean, you may not. The Liquid Text and the Adobe Slate are free. The City Maps to Go, one version's free and one version you have to pay for. So if you want to check it out before you spend any money, but you don't need it. I have it in the notes. If you want to play along with me, I'm going to demonstrate each of the apps. So if you want to play along with me, you might want to download it before you come. And the notes will probably be out tomorrow or Friday. Okay. Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn. I'm sure that'll be an excellent class. And since you mentioned that, I ran into an app just a few weeks ago that I decided to buy. I didn't know when I was going to use it, and it turned out that a monstrous task came up, and the app really just saved me. And that's this one, PDF, and it's hard to read, PDF Expert. I want to open it up. It's by Readly, and they do a lot of different things.
It's a good company.
Yes, an excellent company. So these are different things that I've put on here, but the particular and there's the instructions are here, and they're very detailed. There's like 57 pages of instructions. So if you have any questions, you can get them real easy. But this was the document that I had to work with, and It is 57 or 70 pages long, and it's a document for an HOA that I'm involved in. So this might be hard to see, but if you can see these green typing notes, you just, if you go over here, you just hit, like if I hit the T right here and I want to type, then I just go over here and hit it, and then I just make the font whatever size I want and start typing. And it will be right on the PDF. And then you can email it to somebody. So,
What was it called again?
it's called PDF
Expert.
Expert. Do you have it yet?
I have PDF provider.
I have a lot of
Yeah.
those, and this is the latest one. It's a $5 or $7 app, and it's really good. So, but then this whole thing is, this sidebar took a little time to get used to, particularly when you don't read directions. But I close that out. But if I then go through, and it doesn't go like this, it goes from side to side, which I'm not very used to. I don't think it goes from side to side. Let's just see. Oops. Okay. What happened?
By the way, that app I was telling you about, the liquid text, if you had something like what Mitch is working on, a long document like that, you can also make comments, and you can also pick out excerpts from it if you wanted to just send those.
Can you, John,
Okay.
can you actually modify the document?
Yeah, no, you can't modify it, but like here, I highlighted this, and like this green text at the top, way up here, it says, change to have insurance coverage for both townhomes and detached home units. So this happened to be a PDF, a 70-page PDF of some HOA documents that an attorney gave us, and he said, this is really similar to your situation, so why don't you start from this template and make changes as you see fit, and we'll see if they're legally acceptable and go from there. So it's real easy to highlight text and then just make comments. Like here, I highlighted this line and I just put over here, remove form. So real handy, and then when you get done with this, here's one, and I put a whole bunch of text over to the side here, which I know is hard to read for you all because you can't see it, but, and there are a lot of other ways to annotate. I just really used the highlight, I used the underline a couple times, I did use the text, which is the green stuff. But it's really handy. And then when you get done with it, if you go up here, you can do a lot of things. You can save this copy, you can print it, export it to iCloud Drive, open in, and that comes up. But one thing you can do that I did is you can email. You have 3 ways to email it. This is the way I generally email it. Just email the document. It appears as a little box, and they just hit on it, open it up, and they can see all the notes that I put on the document. So wanted to mention that. It's an excellent app.
Mitch, there is an app for the iMac where you can literally change the text. Tell me the name of it, Jerry, I can't think of it. PDF, I mean,
Adobe Pro.
PDF pen?
PDF pen.
PDF?
Yeah, and you can use it on the iMac, and you can change text in that. I think they have various levels of it, but.
PDF pen, you can change the text in a PDF.
Correct, but it's for the iMac or the laptop.
Probably like most apps on for the computer cost a lot more.
Yes, it is more expensive.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of people say, well, why do you have so many apps? So let me, yeah, I know you do, because you're getting me that free thing, and I go crazy. But so let's go to this medical area here. And I mean, this is stuff that I can tell you that I haven't opened any of these except this MyFitnessPal. But they were all, and maybe the Web MD. I haven't opened up these others probably in a year. But they're good apps, and if I really want to get in and find out about any of these things, I know they're there. So I just say, well, why delete them? Just keep them. Got them for free usually.
Sounds like app.
That's, yes, I go to App Anonymous, but it hasn't helped. Okay, I got time for one or two more questions. Yes, sir.
My Dropbox is told me it's full, and they want $100 a year to upgrade it. How can I get the stuff out of that and put it on the iCloud account?
Yeah, you can. I think you have to do that on a computer, don't you, Jerry? Yes. Do you have a computer? Yeah. I think you would do it on the computer, and you would go into Dropbox, and you would export the stuff, and you would export it to iCloud. But Dropbox, isn't Dropbox about as cheap as iCloud?
Yes. You want $100 a year for iCloud. I only have 10 online. It's 99 cents a month, so it's like $12 a year.
You can drag it out of Dropbox.
If you just don't want it anymore to be accessible anywhere,
Right?
you drag it into any folder on your computer that's not in the Dropbox.
So I can drag the whole thing, you're saying?
Yes.
Yes. And does it drag it and move it, and then you have to go back?
No, if you drag it,
It moves it. It's moved. Okay. Good.
So I can theoretically just drag and drop it right to the iCloud and I'm done with it.
Yes.
You can put it on an external hard drive,
You can put it on an external hard drive.
flash drive.
Yeah.
Or just
take it to your desktop first before you move it, so that the computer gets a chance to get a hold of the file.
Save it to the desktop first.
Yes.
Just drag it to the desktop.
Make a file on your desktop. You know how to do that? Yeah, make a file, a folder first.
Right.
Because if you just drag it to the desktop and it's a 15,
Everything will be-
everything will be all over everywhere.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, been there, done that too. Okay, I want to mention, I know somebody else had a question, but I want to mention about Apple announcements coming up. And they're just hearsay, but they're pretty consistent on what's going to happen. I think it's the 21st, they moved it back a week, that there are announcements coming out. It's probably going to cover, it sounds like it's going to cover a new iPad, but it's going to be more of they're describing it as an iPad Pro Mini, which will be the same size as this, but it'll do everything that the Pro does. It's supposed to have an upgraded camera, you're supposed to be able to use the pen with it, and so on. It's going to have the faster processor. It's going to be a major update. And I know I will have one of those very shortly.
What's the
What cost?
I think the cost is going to be about the same. I don't know. I haven't seen anything definitive on that. I think also at that meeting, they're going to announce some new enhancements to the software on the watch, but the Watch 2 is not going to be coming until next fall, probably when the iPhone 7 comes out. At least that's what I'm hearing.
The new iPhone?
Watch.
The new watch is probably not going to come until the new iPhone
There was a
comes.
rumor that they would have a new 4-inch iPhone.
Yes, yes, and that is also pretty heavily rumored that they will have a new 4-inch iPad, or 4-inch iPhone, like the old iPhone. It'll have all the same features as the new ones, but it'll just be smaller. Apparently there's some market for people who want that smaller device. That appears to be in the works. I think between now and June, the is it Light Lake, the Intel Light Lake processor, the new group of processors?
I don't know.
There'll be new processor updates to laptops between now and June, so I know I'm waiting to get a laptop, and I'm waiting for them to update the processors. There's not going to be any
What about the iMac?
the iMac is probably not until later this year. I don't think it's going to be at this announcement. Anybody else hearing about what's going to be announced? And I can tell you that it's really funny, because I was getting 4 or 5, emails, or newsletter type things a day, and I monitor these things pretty closely, on, what are the rumors and what's gonna happen and everything else. And then when all this security business came up with Apple fighting the government over encryption of the phone, about 90% of what I've received now is all just about that.
You might mention, anybody wanting to join the club should see Don.
Oh, yes, Don in the back, our treasurer, Don is there. If you do want to join.
I'm a member already.
You're a member already?
Just
Oh.
never came to the meeting.
Oh, okay, good. Welcome. But the other person there, if you want to join, he has the applications back there, or you can get it off online. I was,
Back as a question.
yes, yes.
Just quick, does anybody know a website that can tell us when the next Apple store is opening near us?
No,
Because there used to be a guy that did that, I think.
There is.
yes. Jim.
When I gave my talk on the Apple TV, I talked about a website called macrumors.com, and it's about all of the iDevices and all of the Mac devices. I'm assuming they would have Apple Store information on it too. macrumors.com.
I don't know, you say you used the Nova site?
No, I think, I think there is a site, and I think it's part of Apple. I think you can do a search on the Apple site, just ask, just search for new stores.
I know they'd love to expand that store for Waterside, but I've talked to them several times over the last couple of years. They just keep on telling me they can't find the appropriate space anywhere.
Yeah. That's a zoo in
Because that's a zoo up there. Okay, anything else?
Oh, one other question.
Yes.
Every time I go to Waterside, now the one-on-ones are over, so to speak. I said, what are you going to do? They said we're going to have more seminars. Have you heard anything? I mean, in the afternoon seminars, 5 people can sign up.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Seminars, I know they've opened up a new, I signed up for it, but I haven't gotten on it, a new Twitter site that's specifically for support issues. That was just announced in the last week or so, and I signed up to follow, but I don't get on Twitter that often. I know I've been disappointed because I still have one-on-ones, and every time I try and get a one-on-one up at that Waterside shop, there doesn't seem to be any times available. I don't know if they've stopped them up there.
We have not stopped.
Okay, I think they're just filling up because people are still here.
And they've gotten rid of a lot of their one-on-one people.
Yeah.
Well, I asked the trainer, what are you going to be when the one-on-ones are over? And he didn't really say.
Well, they're not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
But I think we should all complain, because I think it's...
Well, no, I thought that the Apple Store, I thought they were handing out your card, Marcia.
They sort of are, but I said, they said, here's what they got, and one more thing. He said-
Join the Mac group.
Yeah, he said something like in New York and California, and where there's big stores, maybe 1% of the people use their one-on-ones. And they felt they weren't reaching everybody. And I said, well, not here, and he goes, I know.
Marcia, the trick is go to the 8 a.m. seminar
Yeah.
on Saturday morning. Nobody comes and you'll have a one-on-one.
And here's the last, oops, what happened? Doesn't like my photos. Well, I thought I had one picture I would show you, but,
Was it a picture of you skiing?
here's a picture of me skiing. No, it's a picture of Snoopy and Peanuts, and they're sitting at the lake fishing, and Snoopy says, or Peanut says to Snoopy, someday we will all die, Snoopy. And Snoopy says, true, but on all other days, we will